Welcome in. It is college football smothered and covered. Beautiful Monday here at the home studio. Thank you for making this your first listen. We're going to talk Ole Miss on the show.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Get some big returns. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed if you win that first bet. That's right, a $5 bet earns you $150 in bonus bets if you get that win. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we are getting started with a big show today. We'll talk about an FBS coach that got absolutely screwed by his athletic director. We'll also talk about some Heisman Trophy contenders, one in particular that might not be a favorite anymore. Mea Culpa Monday, of course, is when I come out there and tell you how stupid I am. But first, stories from Ole Miss. This is my second field storm of the season. Ole Miss, you deserved it. That was a total ass kicking. A total ass kicking. From the moment that game started, you could tell there was something different in the atmosphere. And then it got deflated. After that Jackson Dart pick and the injury and Georgia going down in that short field and scoring, it was like, uh-oh, here we go again with Ole Miss. Here we go again with a team that everybody thought could be the new kid at school that everybody loved. And they end up being losers. Nope. Ole Miss's defense absolutely dominated Georgia. Carson Beck had no chance. And I know Carson Beck is taking a lot of heat, and I think to an extent he should, but this was on Georgia's offensive line. Why was it on Georgia's offensive line? Even though they're talented individually, they are horrible as a unit, which is exactly what Alabama was towards the end of the Saban era. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why this keeps happening. But it's not on Beck. It's really not on the rushing game. Watching that offensive line get absolutely torched was extremely concerning. And to me, is the fatal flaw. We know they have a very big issue running the football. We know that Carson Beck has become a liability. And now down the stretch, that offensive line is getting worse and worse. This is not a college football playoff caliber team. Certainly not a national championship caliber team. They're not a college football playoff caliber team, as the landscape right now sort of dictates. So that's the Georgia side. Now let's talk about tales from Ole Miss. Check out this video. Got this one. Not that one. This one. If you're listening, you can go on YouTube and see it. I got really close to this goalpost. Really close to this goalpost. Down it comes. Nobody got hurt, luckily, because sometimes you do see some issues. Sometimes you do see fans get hit in the head. I've been hit in the head. I got pretty close, but then started backing up. Did get a solid picture of the dudes on the goalpost. Got a great picture of the fans on the field, and then got a great picture of the fans from the press box. This was warranted, and it was wild. I've been in some crowd storms. That was wild. My second one of the year. Both of them had premature celebrations, but it was pure joy. That's what I love about this game, right? I said this with Kennesaw. I'm going to say it with Ole Miss. Nobody on that field cared about the college football playoff. Nobody cared at all that this was a signature win. It was, and it will help them on Tuesday night when the rankings are released. But for that moment, nobody cared. It was just pure joy. It was celebration. The fans and the students, and this is why I love college football. The students and the players are one and the same. You go to classes with them. You see them walking around. They're not mythical figures. They're just your friends. They're just your classmates. And that's watching the Ole Miss players, and they deserve a ton of credit. They helped get the players or the fans off the field the first time, and then they were jumping around with the fans like they were like it was just them. It was just they were no big deal. It's just them celebrating, the whole crew celebrating. It's why I love college football. It's why I love college football. The scene was incredible. All right. So if you're watching, you can see this crowd scene. The first goalpost came down very quickly. The second goalpost, it took a little while. Got back up to the press box, and I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, I don't know if you've seen World War Z, right? Wherever all the first scene, all these rabid humans are jumping all over the place. I'm looking, I see these people going up the student section. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The goalpost is up there, and it keeps going higher and higher and higher towards the top. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to throw it over the top. And below it is like a facilities building. There will be people there. And the PA announcer gets on, please do not throw the goalposts over the stadium. They didn't, luckily. So that was fun. Second story. If I had gotten pulled over on the way back to the hotel in Tupelo, I was hot, I was sweaty, I had bourbon spilled all over me, and I think I had a contact high from all the weed in the student section. Again, big old party. The biggest partier, though, was on the level where the press box is. We share a bathroom with, 10 luxury suites. Go out to the bathroom, and there's an Ole Miss dude. Rich boosters are the best entertainment. There's a rich booster, hammered, stumbling around, unlit cigarette sticking out of his mouth, pushing the wrong side of the bathroom door. And I watch him for a second. I'm like, sir, do you need to go in there? Push the door. He walks in, stumbles in. Hilarious. Rich old dudes. Fantastic. But with the game itself, Ole Miss is a national championship caliber team. There's not a doubt in my mind. When you play complementary football the way they do, especially in a year like this where there are a lot of flaws around the country, you can win it all. And what I think is, we know about their defense, but what I think is most interesting about this Ole Miss team and that game in particular is that when they got beyond the 50-yard line, they throttled down. Even in the first half, they throttled down and were fine taking field goals. That shows me maturity from Lane Kiffin. Instead of getting crazy and trying to run the score up, he's being smart, extending the lead, trusting his defense, and getting the job done. A full Ole Miss team with a mature Lane Kiffin means national championship. Not saying they'll win it, but anybody discounting that Ole Miss team because of a loss to Kentucky or whatever, they've evolved. Lane's evolved. And to me, that's scary. That's scary because around the country, who are you really scared of? Right? Who are you really scared of? Oregon? Sure. Ohio State? Yeah, I'm still scared about them. Texas? Sure. Not scared about Georgia anymore. Indiana still, we'll see. But Ole Miss is a complete football team, and they've got a coach who's matured in a big way and has won games in multiple ways. He's won shootouts. He's won track meets. He's won defensive games, and he's accepted that his team can do all of them. That's scary, folks. That is very scary. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's Mea Culpa Monday here on College Football Smothered and Covered. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet cashes. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, who doesn't get hunches in the middle of the game? You can place a bet. It's right there where you see your live play-by-play, your stats. It's all there in one spot on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com today. FanDuel.com today. You'll get started with $150 if your first $5 bet cashes. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Alabama fans, I'm sorry. Alabama fans, I am sorry. I doubted you again. You were ripping on me again. You sent me texts, a lot of texts in the subtext group. You sent me mean tweets on X. Totally fine with that. DMs, all that stuff. I did not think that an undisciplined Alabama team could go into Death Valley and slay the Tiger. Beat an LSU team that I thought lost to Texas A&M because they kind of caught up in a whirlwind. Nope. Alabama deserves everything that it has coming to it. Everything. All of the accolades. I am floored that Kalen DeBoer did this. However, coming out of a bye week, self-scouting, recognize what you can do well, more importantly, what you do poorly, and fixing it on both sides is huge. Staying away from you what you don't do well and being smarter with your flaws. There weren't many. Alabama let LSU shoot themselves in the foot because LSU was highly penalized too. Alabama basically said, we're going to run Jalen. And if you stop it, stop it. We're going to be smart. We're not going to jump offside. We're going to play smart within ourselves. LSU panicked from the moment Jalen scored, and they could not stop him. So Alabama fans, I apologize. I did not believe in you. I did not believe in Kalen DeBoer. Now, does this mean that I think you're going to the college football playoff? I don't know. There have been upsets all over the place this year in college football. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But for that moment, I thought you were the one who would be eliminated. And you proved me wrong. So Mea Culpa Monday. First team we're talking about, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Second one, Mike Norvell. I thought Florida State was going to win the ACC and go to the college football playoff, despite the fact that they had a whole new roster. Yet, here they are at 1-9. And now Mike Norvell is jettisoning coordinators. OC, DC, wide receiver coach, out. What does this mean? It means next season is a critical year for Mike Norvell. You don't want to give him a mulligan this year, and that's why he's shedding coordinators. Because someone, something, some group, some big money booster is on his ass, trying to figure out how to make things better. And perhaps more importantly, insert his voice into the decision-making, which is a whole different story and does more harm than good. Mike Norvell's not getting fired this year. 1-9 is also not acceptable. It's almost like Gene Chizik at Auburn, right? You have a dream season. Florida State obviously didn't win the national championship, but they were undefeated, whatever. You have a dream season, have ultimate success. You come crashing down the next year. Now, Auburn didn't come crashing down to this extent. They were 8-5, I think, with Barrett Trotter at quarterback. But then Gene Chizik was on the hot seat the next year. They went 3-9, and Chizik got fired. To me, that's exactly what Mike Norvell has to worry about, is that it has been so bad this year that enough people are putting pressure on him that he has to get rid of coordinators and get rid of position coaches now, as opposed to a month from now. You could easily wait. It's not like you're suddenly going to get better and make a bowl game. Nope, somebody's on him. So to me, that means when we're talking about coaches on the hot seat, was Billy Napier a little bit to the east? That hot seat has moved a little bit to the west to Tallahassee. And next season, Mike Norvell better get it together, because if he doesn't, he's going to get fired. Next up on Mea Culpa Monday, Cam Ward, I thought you were going to have a few Heisman moments. I thought you were going to handle Tech. I thought that the Tech defense was going to crumble and you'd have another blowout victory late. Didn't trust the defense for Miami, but what do we know about Miami? Cam Ward always, towards the end of the game, lights the defense up, usually cover. And that didn't happen. In fact, the strip sack is almost inexcusable. Here's the thing with that game. The Heisman, the voters are going to look at it and think that he can't get the votes, that they can't, with a good conscience, put him at number one. Maybe two, maybe three, whatever, but not number one. Why? Because Georgia Tech doesn't have the respect. But here's the thing. We know Miami's defense is a disaster. That has played a part in why Cam Ward has had so much success through the air, because they've needed him to for essentially 3/4 of every game. But Miami's defense didn't have the chance to give Cam the ball as much as he needed to. Why? Because Brent Key's offense with Haynes King and the rest of that Yellow Jacket group was immaculate. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They knew they couldn't throw. Haynes King was pulled out when they were in obvious passing situations. They still made it work. They kept Cam Ward on the sideline. And what do you know? He didn't have enough time to come back like he has all season long. So Cam Ward, the Heisman is not lost, but Travis Hunter keeps doing Travis Hunter things. And there's a guy named Ashton Genty still cruising around. We'll take a break. We will wrap things up with a story that I think is a disgrace, and an athletic director and an institution that should be criticized to no end. We'll talk about it next. It's college football smothered and covered. Of course, we are presented by the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Gametime. You know what? Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Filter only incredible deals on great seats with Gametime picks. See the view from your seat on your phone before you buy that ticket. All-in pricing shows you the total cost up front, so you're not hit with $20, $30 price increases when you check out. Buy the tickets in just seconds with 2 taps. Gametime Picks shows you the best values on tickets. Last minute deals on tickets right up there to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts, which, college football fans, if you have not done this before, if you have not understood and done this, buying a ticket after the game starts is brilliant. It's brilliant. Because they drop like a rock. Those ticket prices drop like a rock. You get in, you might have missed a drive or two, but you're still there partying at a college football game. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, so I have 2 thoughts on Brian Bohannon getting fired by Kennesaw State. First things first, it is an absolute disgrace by Kennesaw State, the way they handled it. Brian Bohannon, you see on the screen right here, after they upset Liberty for the first win in program history at the FBS level. I know it's the first. I know they haven't had a lot of success. But Kennesaw State putting out a statement that says Brian Bohannon stepped down, when Brian Bohannon goes on Twitter and says, hey, you know what? That didn't happen, shows that Kennesaw State's athletic department is a disgrace to college football, poorly run, and doesn't understand Kennesaw State's place in the ecosystem. Kennesaw State rushed to jump up to FBS. It wasn't totally ready. And so after one season with an upset win over a team that went to the freaking Fiesta Bowl, you get rid of the only coach that you've known for a decade. He built the program, Brian Bohannon did. And after your first season at FBS level, when you've beat a team that went to the Fiesta Bowl, granted, the rest of the season has not been great. In fact, it's been a disaster. But the dude deserved a mulligan. And you just sent him packing in an embarrassing way to try to make yourself look better before the season even ends. What a joke. What a disgrace. Brian Bohannon deserves better. He built that program, got them to a point where they went to playoffs at the FCS level and jumped to the FBS level very quickly, perhaps even too quickly. And you let him go before season one at this level ends when he has a signature victory? What a joke. And the way it was handled really bothers me too. I think everybody out there has been fired in some way, shape, or form. In our industry, people get fired, but a lot of times you don't have your contract renewed. I have been in that situation. Now, luckily, not very often. But I got hired with the first wave of full-time writers that Bleacher Report hired back in 2012. I spent 5 seasons at Bleacher Report. I didn't like the way that the coverage of college football was going. We weren't doing day-to-day stuff. In fact, they wouldn't even let me write a piece on Lane Kiffin before the Peach Bowl semifinal in 2016. They didn't want one. So I was upset about it. I hired an agent. But then a month later, they decided they weren't going to renew my contract. It was like, fine. It was like a divorce. Like, I'm not divorced, luckily, but it was like clean break. Cool. Spent 7 seasons at CBS and they didn't renew my contract. My last month was in January of this year. I was cool with that. I was unhappy with a lot of things. It now gave me the opportunity to talk to you guys on this podcast. It happens. It happens. I'm being honest with you. Bleacher Report and CBS were honest with me. Therefore, I am honest with you. For Kennesaw State to put out a completely false press release saying that Bohannon stepped down when he clearly did not, he says he did not, is malpractice. It's disrespect. And there are 3 sides to every story. I know that. Mostly everybody knows that. 3 sides to every story. One side, the second side, the truth. Maybe technically he did step down from an administrative standpoint, from a contractual standpoint, to preserve some money, preserve something, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's like when Tuberville got fired by Auburn. Well, he actually technically stepped down, but whatever. It happens a lot. But be honest with the people. Otherwise, you look like you do right now. And Kennesaw State does not look good right now. And it's frustrating because if you guys saw this show after the Liberty-Kennesaw State game, I was so happy for Kennesaw State. I even gave out a hooty-hoo because I was pumped about the future of the program. I thought the future was with Brian Bohannon because he could make that a consistent winner in Conference USA. Now, if they hire the right guy, they can do that still. Jacksonville State hired Rich Rodriguez. There are plenty of guys like Rich Rodriguez out there that would love to have a second chance in talent-rich Metro Atlanta. Maybe they can go do that. Maybe they have their head screwed on straight as an administration. After what we saw and how they handled this, I have my doubts. Hey, join the subtext group. You can see the information in the details below. You can text me. Use promo code college. You can text me whenever you want. You can yell at me. It's all good. I had a lot of fun on Saturday with that subtext group, man. It was fantastic. Thank you for making this your first listen. Hey, for your second listen, go check out Locked On College Football. Spencer McLaughlin does a great job over there. You can also check out the conference channel as well. As for here, we will be back tomorrow with the Tuesday edition of College Football Smothered and Covered. Till then, enjoy your Monday. We'll talk to you soon.